Dear Rav Eli and Yosef, the link worked perfectly. Thanks for sending it. This is from Noam Parnas from Silver Spring. I noticed that you tend to mention the number of live viewers on the video. I'd love to hear you also mention the total number of people who viewed the previous day's video. A combination of live, YouTube, Torahanytime, Zoom. Oy vavoy vavoy. Okay, so first of all, we are on Torahanytime. We are on the app. We have an app. 8-min daf, right? So on the app alone, according to Leon Welcher, the one that runs the app, I don't know if he's on now. Is he on? Noch nicht. We have 1,000 views a day on the app. And on YouTube, from the beginning of Shabbos, some days we had 1,200, 1,400. We had Daf Dalet that had 2,500 views. So with everything, Torahanytime, the app.
Average of 1,600 on YouTube.
Which one?
Average 1,600.
Average 1,600, but Friday is always a very weak day. So now we get 800. So we're pushing 3,000 views a day, Baruch Hashem. 3,000, it's a lot of views. All right, so I don't know. I can't go every day and tell you the numbers. That you're going to have to do yourself. Many people, especially viewers here in the U.S., watch the recorded shir hours later. I think those numbers would be a big chizuk to everyone involved with the shir. For example, it's one thing to say there are 45 people watching live at the same time. It's another thing to know that between those who watched live and those who watched the recorded later that day, there are 150 people or more involved in this shir. So I'm telling you, it's close to 3,000, not 150. Even though I'm watching the shir delayed by several hours or even days, as is usually the case over the weekend, I still feel like I'm a part of the shir, not just a spectator. Wow. If you're only on Zoom, so last night Zoom we had 91 people. So that's beautiful. We have to keep on going. There's no reason why we shouldn't have at least 80 people on Zoom, the 80 people that come every morning to daf. May we be zoicha to see an end to this pandemic soon and be able to return the shir to its original home, Kol Tuv, Noam Parnas, Silver Spring, Maryland. One more. I don't know if I can read this whole thing. This is from Jay Friedman. He's a photographer in Chicago, and I remember him very well because I used to be a caterer many years ago, and he was a photographer at many chasanas from Satin Photo at Comcast.net. Dear Eli, I'm not understanding how you look at the room you give shir in and only see the 7 people in front of you. I guess he's writing this when there were 7 people then, that one day. Now there's only 2. The Sima Brachas in Chicago brought together approximately 150 Yidden from all different backgrounds to celebrate together, and I was the only person from my shir able to attend, meaning that this is only a very small portion of those doing Daf Yomi. If only we were 1 week later and finishing Brachas, that scene would have looked much different. It only happened at all. At this point, the CRC has asked that all shuls be closed, blah, blah, blah. Now for the Divrei Torah, we'll all wonder why this is happening and what to learn from it. I guess his point is, don't just look at it, the 7 people, there's many other people there, fine. What could you learn from all this, according to Jay Friedman in Chicago? I propose the following, that the whole reason for the internet to exist is for this moment in our lives. Why else do you think that Torahanytime and all the other learning websites exist? The next time you look at your 7 students sitting in front of you, you should keep in mind that your classes go worldwide. In reality, you have thousands of students. Remember, in photography as in life, everything you see is just a matter of perspective. Keep a healthy one. Be well, Jay Freeman. Yeshakayach, Jay. Okay, that's enough for today. We have a very short daf today. So, we are discussing the difference. We're discussing place chuches. They made a takana on place chuches. They said that glassware is metama. Now, I made a chart. There's cheres, earthenware, and metal. Where does glassware fit into the whole picture? So yesterday we said that glass is like cheres. And therefore, you cannot be toivel glass in the mikvah. The fact that we saw that you could be toivel glass in the mikvah, that's because somebody put a hole through the glass and filled it up with metal. So the glass became metal. So here are the 5 things that we have here. We have pshutei, kli, cheres, and pshute kli barzel. Pshute means it's flat. This, flat, but it's a kli. Let's say a cutting board, a metal cutting board is pasht. So if it's made out of metal, it becomes tamei. Check. If it's made out of cheres, earthenware, it's not tamei. Then you have the concept of migaboy. Does something become tamei from the exterior? Earthenware does not become tamei if you touch it. If a dead sheretz touches the earthenware, it doesn't become tamei. Glass does become tamei. You see, there's a little glass here. Metal becomes tamei. Glass is like metal. And then we have a question: if you fix up something, does it become tamei again? Metal, if you fix it, you drill a hole in it, it loses its tuma. You fix it, it becomes tamei again. Cheres, it doesn't. Glass is like cheres. Tefillah, you could be toivel a piece of metal in the mikvah, but you cannot be toivel and get rid of tuma to a cheres, to earthenware. Glass is like earthenware, that we said yesterday. Avir. Ear. The way it works is, I'm very proud of my drawing. Let me show you. If I take a sheretz, how would you do it? If I take a sheretz and put it inside earthenware, without it touching the earthenware, the kli becomes tamei. Here you go. Wow, geschmack, I love it. See that? It's hanging. This guy's dead. It has to be dead. Fine. So when it comes to a metal kli, that doesn't work. A hanging sheretz in a metal kli doesn't work. And by glass also doesn't work. So now the question is, what is glass? Could you guys see the little glass here? I don't know if you can see it. Glass. Okay, fine. What is glass? Yesterday we said glass is like cheres, and therefore you cannot be toivel glass. Tefillah in a mikvah doesn't work to get rid of tumah. Ask the Gemara on Daf Tesvavim Beis, the last two words. Elo miato. Loy tamu migabon. If you're comparing glass to earthenware, so then if you touch glass on the outside like this with a sheretz, it should not become tamei. And the fact is, it does become tamei. Why? You just compared it to earthenware. Alamatnan, klei cheres, ukli neser. It's another type of dirt, earth, different pirushim, alum, some sort of natural resource to masan shava. That what? Mitamim, they become tamei through a sheretz. Umitamim avireim. So this one we already spoke about. A kli cheres becomes tamei from the ear. If it doesn't touch anything, it just in the ear space of the kli becomes tamei. In addition to that, if the kli is already tamei, then it could make something else tamei. It could take a perfectly non-tamei apple and make that apple tamei just by being in the ear space of that tamei kli. Umitamin me'achireim. Oh, see this? This is a kli, but this also has a bottom, and the bottom is sort of a kli. So a kli cheres could also be metame this way. If you stick something in here, the whole kli becomes tamei, and if it's already tamei, you stick a piece of food in this part of it, the back, the underneath kli. Maybe this is a better example. You see this guy? This. It has some sort of base kibble over here. Not the big part, but the small part on the bottom. That's my chureim. Ve'ein mitamim migabeim. And they don't become tamei if you touch them over here on the outside. Ushvi rason, mitar rason. If you break a kli cheres, poof, you break it. Tahar. Says the Gemara. Now, just make a simple diuk. Kli neser, klei neser, or klei cheres. Who did to masam shava? Only these two things mentioned: a kli cheres, earthenware, and neser, also type of earthenware. Who did to masam shava? Avamidach rinelai, but not glassware. Now, this is unbelievable. You're going to tell me that glassware which is a gzeira derabanan. That's what we're discussing. Yesterday we discussed that midiraisa glassware doesn't become tummy. It's derabanan. You're going to tell me glassware is worse than the source? The source doesn't become tummy migabon? If I touch a kli, a earthenware on the outside, not tummy, but glass is worse than the original, than the deraisa? How could that be? Says the Gemara, Amri, Kiv in the Chinish Tabri Yishlam Takana, glassware, if it breaks, I didn't know this. In those days, you take the broken pieces and you just throw it in the oven again. You start all over again. You make a new piece of glass. We don't do it. I guess it's crazy to do so in nowadays. Metalware, anytime it breaks, you solder it back together again and everything is great. And glassware is the same thing. You take a broken glass and you make it new.
They do that in big factories.
Yeah, obviously, in a big factory. I'm saying, I know you could do it. I'm saying we don't do it. So, therefore, glassware is similar to metalware. So according to Rashi, it's similar to metalware, but it's also similar to earthenware. So pick and choose. Sometimes we say glass is like metal. Sometimes we say glass is like earthenware. Okay. So if it's like metal, where's that chart? Over here, Chayzer. Number 3 in the chart. That Tumah does not go back. You can't reclaim the Tumah. Once you break it, you break it. And glass is like cheres. You see, there's a picture of a glass. Metal is different. Now, why does metal, if I drill a hole through metal, and then I fix it, it comes back. So if I drill a hole in the metal, midaraisa, it's not tumah anyway. It's not tumah anymore. The tumah goes away. But if I fix the metal, then the tumah comes back. Now glass should be on this side. It should be like metal. We just compared glass to metal. So let it have the halacha like metal, that if I fix the glass, it should become tummy again. It should be like metal. This nan clay matochos pshutayim umikableim tmeim. Pashut means flat, a cutting board, but it has to be a kli that you fashion for a kli, but it's flat. It doesn't have a base kibul umikableim, and if it could receive something, a bowl tmeim. Nishberu, if the metal it breaks, taru, it's completely tar. Chazar va'asamem kelim, but if you fix the metal, chazar l'tumasam mishana, it does go back to original tumah. So now, if you're comparing glass, you're saying since glass, I could take all the broken pieces, put them back together again, and make it new. So then it's similar to metal. So let it be similar to metal in this halach as well. But it says by schuches, nan klei eitz uklei ar uklei etzem uklei schuches. Rashi brings down all the places where we make drasha. We compare everything to the leather, and it has to have a base kibul pshutayim tahirim. It has to have a base kibul. You have to be able to put something in it. It can't be flat. Umkableim tmeim. If it's pashot, it's flat, it's tar, and if it accepts something, it's tamei. Nishburu taru, and if it breaks, it's tar. Chazar va'asamem kelim, and one of these things is klei schuches. If I fix it, and I make it a kli again, mikablim tuma, mikan ulaba, it only becomes tamei from here on out, but doesn't take back the original tuma like a metalware. In other words, glass is different than metal. Why is glass different than metal? Glass could only become tummy if I fix it from here on out, but not retroactive. Whereas metal, if I punch a hole through the metal, tahar. If I fix the hole in the metal, then I recapture the tumah that I had in the kli yesterday. Not so by glass. Says the Gemara, tumas kli schuches derabanan. At the end of the day, the whole, like we said yesterday, the whole concept of tumah in glass is only derabanan. V'tumah yishana derabanan. And to say that it recaptures tumah is a second derabanan. Betuma d'oraisa. When I'm talking about a kli that's metal, d'oraisa, achisu barabanan tuma. Then rabbanan stuck in one tuma called tuma yishana. I could go backwards and recapture my tuma that I had yesterday. Betuma d'rabanan. But when I'm discussing a kli that is completely d'rabanan, glass is d'rabanan, la'achisu l'rabanan tuma. Then I'm not going to take one d'rabanan and add another d'rabanan on top of it and say that it recaptures tuma from yesterday. Ask the Gemara. Now let's go back to the list. The first thing on the list is pshutim, flat, a flat kli. If it's metal, it's tameh. If it's made out of earthenware, a flat piece of earthenware, a cutting board made out of earthenware is not mekabel tuma. Where does glass fit into the picture? See this little glass here? It's like earthenware. Why? Why is it not like metal? Okay, but you just said that if something's deraisa, I do put it on this glass. Now, a flat piece of metal is in the Torah. So why isn't glass that's flat tameh? Says the Gemara, Avdu b'Rabbanan ekera. At the end of the day, Rabbanan still had to show people that, wait a minute, glass is the Rabbanan. You have to remember that. It's very important to remember that glass is the Rabbanan. Why is it important to remember? We alluded to it yesterday. Because anytime you have the Rabbanan and something that's coming the Rabbanan touches food, what you do is toila. You just let it stay. You don't do anything to it. You let it rot on its own. You can't take physical action and burn it like you burn something truma that became tameh midiraisa. Why? It's only midirabanan. To burn truma is issur deraisa. So how are you going to go burn something the Rabbanan said you can't burn? We have to show that this is the Rabbanan. Don't go ahead and burn this truma. But we did have yesterday the 6 sveikos. That we burn. Those are the only things you burn. But everything else, including food that touches these kalim that are midrabanan, you don't burn. Fine. So that's that. Now we turn the page. How much time do I have, Jonathan? I have 5 minutes, he says. 5 minutes for Daf Zayin and Beis. I have plenty of time here. Anybody have a good Maisa? Who's that? Yaakov, top right corner. That's your son. Beautiful. Okay, Zokti Gemara. Ravashi Omar. Ravashi has another pshat here. La'olam likli cheres damu. Glass, you have to compare glass to earthenware in everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. Pashut is like cheres. In other words, if it's flat, it's not mekabel tuma. That's great. Migaboy, wait a minute, I don't know. Now that it can become tummy again, you don't recapture yesterday's tuma, it's like cheres. You can't be toivel in the mikvah like cheres. What about this? Avir. This, we said, works in a kli cheres. Does this work in a glass? According to Rav Ashi, believe it or not, Taisus points out in Omen Aleph, in a small little Taisus, you can look at this Taisus, it's an amazing Taisus. Taisus in Omen Aleph says, Elam ata loy letamu migaban, small Taisus, second Taisus. And then he goes, in the middle, V'had leitane sorry, V'chimishane dehad demitamu migaban mepnei shenir teuchen gebar, le'matzin le'mirfach hakati letamu ma'avira, Dike le'meimar, Taisus says, ein hachinami. By glass, ein hachinami, it is mitama in its ear. V'had leitane b'hadei nesu klei cheres, so if it's mitama in its ear space, it should be listed where we discuss ear space. It says neser, klei cheres, and the third thing should be glass. Mishum de klei schuches mitamu migabon. It's not completely like a klei cheres and neser, because at the end of the day, as you see over here, glass is matama from the outside. If you touch the outside of the kli, where you hold it, it's tummy. So it can't be in that list. But it's very interesting to note, when it says Rav Ashi Omar, the first line on top, Rav Ashi Omar lo'olam l'kli cheres damu, it means that glass is exactly like kli cheres, big chiddush. According to Rav Ashi l'chayra, if you put a mouse, a dead mouse, into the kli schuches, into glass, without touching the glass, the ear captures the tumah and the whole kli becomes tummy. Now wait a minute. If it's exactly like earthenware, why in the world, if you touch a sheretz to the glass, it does become tamei, earthenware does not become tamei? Says Rav Ashi, glass is see-through. So if it's see-through, the outer layer has the same halacha as the inner layer. You see this, you visually see the inside. So Mamela, the outside is also like the inside. And just like the inside is Mikabel Tumah, so too the outside. A chiddush about glass. But in a Chanami, all the halachas are like cheres. We compare glass to cheres, to earthenware, and not to metal. Fine, that's it. New sugya. Shimon ben Shedach tiken ksuva liisha. So we discussed this. The Gemara here doesn't discuss it at all. It is a whole Masechta called Masechta Ksubas. We're going to discuss it there, Be'ez Hashem. We're all going to be there together. We're going to finish Shabbos, we're going to finish Erevin, and then we're going to smooth sail all the way to Ksubas. But again, just to review quickly, whether or not Ksubas they're right, so they're Rabbanan, we're not getting into. And Shimon ben Shedach certainly did not create the concept called Ksuba. All he did was that in those times, a man would get married, and he would tell his wife, you see this? This is your Ksuba. And I'm putting it right over here. Now he had nothing to lose by giving it to her, because it's already set aside. He already lost the money, it's out of his pocket. He withdrew the money, he put it on the side for her. So if he got upset at her, for whatever reason, he'd divorce her in 10 seconds. Shimon ben Shedach came along and said, no. The woman can ask for anything. And now the husband has to think twice before he divorces her, because she might take his most prized, valued assets. Fine. What's the second thing that we're discussing? The gazer tuma al kli matochis. And he decided that there's tuma on metalware. Ask the Gemara, kli matochis deraisa. What are you talking about? It's mafurish in the pasuk. L'chsiv aches hazov es hakesev. When Midyan, Klal Yisrael took the loot from Midyan, and part of the pasuk, you just continue in the pasuk, es barzel, es abdil, es harifayres. One of the things is barzel, metal. And it says that they're tamei. And what do? You do this, you do that. But it's metal, and metal is mikabel tuma. So what are you telling me that Shimon ben Shedach invented a tumah metal? Says the Gemara, Ela l'tumi yishana. The fact that metal you could recapture after I poke a hole in it, I destroy the metal, and midai raisa, all the tumah flies away. This kli with a giant hole in it is tahar. If I fill in the hole, I make a nice patch, then the tumah that I started out with comes back to that kli. That's what he invented. There was a queen called Tzina Malka. You all remember her. We just learned about her in Masechtas Brachas. She was Yanai's wife. Remember what happened there? Yanai killed all the Talmid Chachamim, but the big tzaddik, he needed to bench. Oy! How am I going to bench? I just killed everybody, but I need a bench. I'm not going to compare them to anybody in these days, whatever. These guys that go to shul, whatever. Fine. Big tzaddikim today. Got it down with minyan. So, he kills all the gdoilim, but then he has to bench. So what did he do? He tells his wife. He tells her, I need a gadol. She says, oh, I got one, I hit one, but promise me you're not going to do anything to him. So he promises her he won't kill. Who does she pull out? Shimon ben Shedach. Who's Shimon ben Shedach? Her brother. So here we go back. Now that we know that story, Rashi doesn't point it out. Neither does the art scroll, I don't think. But it's gishmak to know the history. It seems like, to me, it seemed like that Yana is gone. He's dead. Because his wife is making a big feast here. What does the wife have to do with anything? She made a mishnah lebna to her first son. V'nitmu kol kelea, says Rashi, tumas meis. In other words, makes sense. They bring out all the fancy kalim of the kingdom, and a guy drops dead at the meal. That's probably the story. He drops dead. If a guy drops dead at the meal, what happens? Everything in the room becomes tamei, oil. So now she's up a creek. She has an option. She could wait 7 days for them to become tar, plus a whole process. You have to sprinkle every kli with the mechatos, the paraduma water. She has a great eitzah. She's the queen. She can do whatever she wants. She has many people working for her. She takes a drill, not she herself. She tells one of her servants. They make a hole in every single kli. Every kli, a giant hole. As we're going to see soon, it has to be the size of a pomegranate. Massive hole. And then every kli becomes tahar, and then immediately she repairs them. So she can use the kalim right away. V'nitmu kol kalel, v'shabraton, v'shibarton, she broke them, v'sanaston l'tzarif. And then she gives them to the pro, v'ritchan, he solders them, v'osamim kalim chadashim. Brand new, everything is new, no tumah. V'amru chachamim. Now who's chachamim? We said a second ago, Shimon ben Shetach gozar tuma kli matachos. It's Shimon ben Shetach. So when the Gemara here says chachamim, it's referring to her brother. He tells his sister, no, that's not good what you just did. Yachzeru tumasim yishana. I'm going to make a takana that all kalim made out of metal are going to recapture the tumah from whatever it was before. So these kalim were tamei tumas meis, and midiraisa you poked a hole in it, a giant hole, no more tumah. And now that you fixed it, they all become tumas meis. You still have to go through the whole process of sprinkling it on the 3rd day, on the 7th day, being tovel in the mikveh, the whole thing, wait 7 days. People are going to forget about the whole concept of sprinkling with the water of the chatas. They're not going to know it exists anymore. They have a much easier way to get out of it. Says the Gemara, if this gzeira of Shimon ben Shetach that you recapture the tumah applies only to tumas mace, when there's a mace that touched it or is in the oil, great, it makes sense, because for tumas mace, you need a little bit of sprinkling of the paraduma water, and then you might come to forget. What if you hold that this applies? Is that Noam Fix over there? Yes, that's Noam Fix. Hi, Noam. It's a chizuk that you're here with us. It's a mamish chizuk. And if this applies to all tumais, why in the world would Shimon ben Shetach say that if a sheret, a dead mouse, touched my kli, and then I made a hole in my kli, and then I fixed the hole, the kli becomes tar again? Why would he say that it's tamei like a sheret? What is somebody? You don't sprinkle mechatas on a sheret's tumah. Why would he say it over there? Michael and Emar, two pshatim. Omar Abaye, gzeira shema loy koveno b'chdei taharasai. So as Rashi points out, according to Rashi, you have to make a hole this size. Not everybody wants to make a hole this size. He might not make a hole this size. He may make a hole, he'll make a mistake. And this, by the way, is probably not even the size of a pomegranate. Maybe a little smaller. So it's confusing. So therefore, this is what happens when you're in lockdown. I couldn't get a real pomegranate, so you got to do it with whatever you have. This looks like a pomegranate to me, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Huh? It even has the stem on top. Yeah, it's beautiful. So we have to remember, Abaye says maybe he won't make the proper size hole. Rava Omar Gzeira Shema Yoimru Tfilo Bas Yoima Oilala. People might come to say that you don't even need to wait for sundown. Look, you make a hole, 10 minutes later you patch it, you're good to go. You could use the kli. What happened to the halacha that even after you put it in the mikvah, I have to wait until nightfall? Even for a kli, forget about a human being. A kli, you have to wait for nightfall. My benayu, where's the practical difference between Abaye and Rava? Again, Abaye says maybe you won't make this the right size hole. Rava says people might say that you don't need to have to wait. Terev Shemesh. Says Gemara benayu, there are tzfinu mirtzaf. The guy takes his kli, flattens it out. So Rashi has two pshatim, the opposite of each other. He says he likes the pshat that if it's flat, nobody's going to say that you don't have to go to the mikveh, you don't have to wait until nighttime. Because everybody sees it's a brand new kli. But in terms of how big the hole has to be, people might get confused still. So that's his preferable pshat. So according to Rava, that's not a problem. I have a way out of it. I have an eitzah. I could take a metal kli, flatten it out like a pancake, and then start over again, and nobody's going to confuse and say, oh, look, if you flattened it out, then maybe I don't have to wait until the nighttime for the kli to become tar, because everybody sees we're dealing with a brand new kli. Vidach mahi. Okay, so you guys remember how many of the 18 we learned so far? We have the 9 things that have to do with psul truma. That was that whole list we had the other day, 2 days ago. That was 9. Plus we had in our Mishnah 2 things. We had that you shouldn't read to the light of the candle, and you shouldn't rid your clothes of lice. So I have a total of 11. But there's 18 things that they paskin like Bishamai. Out of 300, in that night they paskin 18 like Bishamai. Vidach mahi. What else is there on the list? This nan. Haminiach kelim tachas hatzinor lekabel meik shomim. I have a picture. Mordechai will testify that this picture came out at 7:07. Here's a tzinor, here's your downspout, and here's a kli. People do this today. They want to conserve on water. They capture the water. This is a giant kli. I'm not sure that this kli is 40 saw, but it's huge. So it's a good example to what we're talking about. One of the things we're talking about. Haminiach kelim tachas hatzinor. You're capturing water. Now, as we discussed yesterday, a mikvah needs to have 40 saw of rainwater. If you introduce 3 saw of mayim shu'uvim, you have to start all over again. You have to redo all the rainwater. In other words, before you have the 40 saw, you introduce 3 saw of mayim shu'uvim, no good. You passed all the rainwater you gathered beforehand. Who says it? The 2 gardim, the 2 guys that had the worst job in the world, and they lived in the worst neighborhood in the world, and they testified it's 3 saw. Remember? Yeah. So now, this guy who goes ahead, and we're discussing now mayim shuvim. What's considered, what constitutes mayim shuvim? How does it become mayim shuvim? Hameniach kelim tachas hatzinor. You put any vessel underneath this downspout. Lekabel be'hamek shavim, in order to receive the rainwater. Echad kelim doilim, whether it's like in this picture a huge kli. Taisus points out it could be even a 40 saw kli. And if it's so huge, it's 40 saw, the size of a mikvah, it's basically the size of a refrigerator box, I think, then it's not mikabel tumah that kli. So it's a chiddush. But it's not important. The point is, any type of kli, any size, doesn't matter what it's made out of. Echad kelim ketanim, very small kelim, insignificant kelim, vafilu klei avanim, even if it's made out of stone, klei adama, and made out of mud or whatever, uklei gilalim, and usually 99% of the time Rashi says klei gilalim means dungware, made out of waste. Over here suddenly Rashi says shayish, marble. No one understands why Rashi changes, because Rashi in Shas always says gilalim means dungware. Fine, there is a pshat, and the Tziv says shayish in French means dung. Okay, regardless, doesn't matter. The point is, it's any type of kli. Poislim es hamikvah, because now you receive the water. It's not rainwater. It's mayim shuvim. You grabbed it, you gathered it, it becomes mayim shuvim. So here's the machlokes that we're going to pass like Bishamai. Bishamai says, it doesn't matter whether you put it there on purpose or you forgot it there. It's shuvim. And why? Because when it comes to shuvim, you have to have das, you have to have in mind. And Bishamai says, it's fine, even if you forget it there, it's enough. Ubesilil, metarim, b'sheicheach, b'sil say no. Since I have to have in mind to do mayim shuvim, to gather it, if I forget it, it's not considered mayim shuvim. It's kosher for a mikvah. It doesn't ruin my mikvah. And halacha was paskin like Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, like we said the other day, last night, that Beis Hillel the following day admitted to Beis Shammai that they happened to be right. Omar Rabbi Meir, Nimnu v'rabu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. This is one of the 18 things that there were more people. They played a trick over there. They got them, they cornered them in the attic, and there were more Beis Shammais than Beis Hillel, more Talmidim, and they forced them and they said, okay, the halacha is like Beis Shammai. Okay. Now, what if it's not under a downspout? It's smack in the middle of my backyard and I forgot it there. And it so happened to rain, like yesterday, whatever. All of a sudden it starts raining on your porch. And for no reason you have a kli out there and it gathers all this water. Then Beis Shammai amaskim that it's not considered ma'im shuvim. You had no intent. Over there is zero intent. Tahar. Rabbi Yossi comes along, or Rabbi Yossi, Adayim Machloikis b'mkoim medas. Says Rabbi Yossi, no, it's not true. Beis Shammai never forced Beis Hillel on this matter, and Beis Hillel never admitted to Beis Shammai on this. This is not one of the 18. And if it's not one of the 18, who's the halacha like always? Like Beis Hillel. So if it's not one of the 18, how many do we have on the list according to Rabbi Yossi? 17. Omer Rav Misharshio. The Bei Rav Amri. Now we're just going to explain what the Machlokes says. Hakol moedim kishenicham b'shas kishur ovim tmeim. If you place this vessel underneath your downspout when it's thundering outside, the clouds are gathering, it's no brainer that it's about to rain in 10 seconds. But Rashi sticks in a very interesting thing here. Rashi says, and it didn't rain. And you went on to do your business, and then it rained. Kishur ovim tmeim. Then everybody agrees that it's tamei. B'shas pizur ovim. But if I place my vessel underneath the downspout, listen to this. This is a big chiddush. I place it underneath the downspout. I say, you know what? It might rain in a month from now. You're in Israel. It doesn't rain the whole summer. I put it in the summer. Is that good enough? Is that enough das? No. Even according to Beis Hillel, that's not enough das. Because it's not going to happen now. It's not imminent. It might happen in a week. It might happen in 2 weeks. In a month. And at the end of the day, it did rain. That's not considered das. Very interesting halach in das. That's not das. Today I had das, and at the end of the day it didn't rain. It didn't happen quick enough, close enough to my das, and that's not considered das. So divrei hakol tahirim. According to everybody, if I put my vessel underneath the downspout when there's no clouds at all, that's not considered machshav. Now, this is different than what Rashi says. Over here, he put it underneath the downspout and there was a lot of clouds. Rashi's case before, it didn't rain. Okay, it didn't rain, but there was still a lot of clouds. And then later on it rained. Over here, what happened was, there were clouds, then the clouds went away. And then the clouds came back. The question is, the fact that the clouds went away, does that mevatel his das? It physically takes away his das. You can't have das on something that doesn't exist. I had das on these clouds, and these clouds, bye-bye. The fact that new clouds came in, that doesn't help my machshava. My machshava wasn't on these clouds, it was on different clouds. So according to Beis Hillel, his machshava is gone. And therefore, what do I have right now? I have rainwater. I don't have mayim shuvim, because my machshava to have mayim shuvim, to gather this water, is batal halachically. Umar savar, and Beis Shammai hold loy batal machshavtoi. No, I had a machshava, and machshava came to fruition at the end of the day, and therefore, this water in my kli is considered mayim shuvim, and three saw of this is no good. Now, Beis Shammai do admit though that if I put the kli in middle of my backyard and then it rained into it, that's not considered a machshava. Now the Gemara just goes back. According to Rabbi Yossi, I only have 17 things on the list because Rabbi Yossi doesn't count this whole machlokes between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel in the rain and the mayim shuvim. He says it's not true. The halach is like Beis Hillel, and Beis Hillel never admitted to Beis Shammai. Where does Rabbi Yossi have 18? Omer Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Av benois kusim nidois mari sason, boy bayom gazru. So this we had also in Masechtas Nida. We hold, Chachamim hold, that a girl that's a day old can become a nida. It's very rare, but it's possible halachically. Kusim don't agree to that. And therefore, we can't trust them. If they tell you that this girl is not a nida, you can't trust them. Maybe she is, and they're telling you alpi what they hold halachically. Is that Yosef ben Zev? Yosef ben Zev, Shalom Aleichem. If anybody wants to know what Yosef ben Zev looks like, he's right over there. I don't know, my screen's on the bottom over there. Number like 6 down. Wave, Yosef. Say Shalom Aleichem to the Olam. Okay, Yosef ben Zev. Another Chicagoan. What are you doing up so late? Now, so therefore Chachamim instituted takana and said, every girl that comes from Kusig, and these Kusim, remember who the Kusim are. There's machlokes whether they're real Gerim or fake Gerim, or the Gerim, they were forced to be Gerim because of the lions, not. Every single Kusi girl is a nida from the day she is born. That was a takana that the Misakin, that Beis Shammai beat Beis Hillel, and Beis Hillel agreed to Beis Shammai. That's halacha according to Rabbi Yossi. Have a wonderful day. And now we're going to say a kapitel to Hillel. Shir hamalois mimamakim kosicha Adonai shimo bekoili tienos necho kashuvois lekoi tachanunoi im avoinois tishmo yo Adonai mi amoi Ki imcho haslicho leman tivorei Kivisi Adonai kivso nafshi v'ledvarai yoichalti Nafshi l'Adonai mishoimrim laboiker shoimrim laboiker Yachel Yisrael el Adonai kim Adonai achesed v'arbei imo yifedos V'hu yivdes Yisrael mikol avenusor Achenu kol beis Yisrael anatzunim v'tzorah v'shivya ha'oim dim bein bayom u'bein bayabasha mokim rachem leim v'yitzim v'tzorah levocha u'me'afela lo'oiro meshubim l'geula ashto b'agalos ma'koriv v'rimah romein Yishkoyach guys